Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wine at 9. Hopefully you guys have already grabbed a bottle of wine yourself and maybe some friends, and thank you for joining us. Tonight, we're going to be your hosts, as we always are, I guess. We're first going to start off with Jen Joy here. Very talented, very beautiful Jen Joy. We have KG, the self-proclaimed most, what would you say?
I keep it up.
A couple weeks ago, what did you say?
What did I say?
I think you said you're the most
decorated, beautiful, I don't know, like intelligent. Where we're going with that?
I forgot what it was.
Charismatic, I don't know, help me out.
Yeah. What about that? I think you said me.
I don't think you needed help with that.
Yeah. And I'm Jerry Joseph. Tonight, leading off our wines is going to be
yeah. So, okay, this week we have, what is Chianti? They keep telling me and I keep messing it up.
Yeah,
Chianti,
that's right. Yeah.
Chianti, Italy. Yeah, so what is this, a Cabernet?
It's a red blend.
Is it?
Yep.
Where does
Chianti
this?
is a type of wine.
It is.
Really?
It's a style, yeah.
Oh, that's new to me.
But this technically would be a red blend, though.
Or is the name of the winery Chianti? That'd be
Okay,
weird.
let's look at this. Okay, well, it's from 2019, named after the Chianti region of central Tuscany. This red wine is classically Italian, a medium-bodied wine with notes of red berries and violets. Oh, enjoy with pasta. Okay.
What a surprise.
Yeah, so anyways, oh, it is a red blend. Okay, I see that now. All right, so yeah, I guess Chianti is the name of the brand. All right, so I have Winking Owl White Zinfandel. Really disappointed with the label of this wine, even though I'm a fan of minimalist wine labels. It's just not. It looks cheap. It looks like Dollar General wine, if they had it.
I think without the logo, it would just look perfect. Little owl, yeah.
Yeah. So this is 30 Miles Cabernet from Napa Valley, California. It's a 2019 wine. We haven't tasted it yet, but it looks heavy.
It looks sexy, man. What a... Ooh.
30 Miles, yeah, the label here is very nice. Just sleek.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and do
design.
a toast and get to drinking. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, so this week our toast is going to be from my good friend Lainey. One of my best friends. Lainey, if you're watching this, I love you so much. Okay, so this week's toast is going to be, we're toasting to people having the right to decide whether or not they want to be vaccinated until it's mandated. It's one of the only freedoms we have left.
Optional vaccination.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll toast that.
So, cheers to that. Cheers to you, Lainey. I love you. They don't know you, but I love you.
Have y'all been vaccinated?
I had my first shot. I have to go back on the 19th.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got Pfizer.
Yeah, I know, yeah. You
I keep
had to.
setting, no, actually, I was supposed to, and then
What?
I keep forgetting. I just, my schedule is just so busy, but
Yeah.
I'm going to for sure.
What about you?
I don't plan to be.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I mean, I saw a meme one time that was like, if you drink out of the punch bowls at a fraternity house, you shouldn't worry about what's in the vaccine. And that's when I was like, yeah, you know what? I can't argue that.
You know, decided to shoot the hooch. You know?
Yeah.
Which is tubing down the Chattahoochee River for those of you who aren't from Georgia and not familiar with that term.
Yeah. So this week,
This is good. Sorry, were you saying something?
I mean,
I was going to put y'all, well,
what?
Chianti is one more.
This week, I think I like this wine. This week I have a white Zinfandel, which is kind of different.
Yeah.
I like it.
This one's pretty, it has a nice spice flavor to it. And I definitely taste some heavy blackberry in it. About a medium body. Tannins are about the same, you know, kind of medium. It's a pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a pretty full wine all the way through. I like it.
I like mine too. I think it's gonna be a little too sweet for you. This is like a transitional wine from like summer to fall. Daytime wine with a good lunch, a salad, some wraps.
Glad you said fall or autumn, because this definitely tastes like something I would.
Yeah.
drink outside, you know, heavy winds coming by, cool winds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're headed into the fall anyways, sooner than later, so it's a good choice.
Excellent.
Talk about your wine. What did you think about it?
It's not bad, but it's not great. It's high on tannins, a lot of flavor, but it's not sweet enough for me. I need a little bit more.
I think you'd like my wine.
Well, heck yeah, I'm gonna be the judge of that here in a second. I'm looking forward to it. This is I don't know, dude. Though I give it about a 3. It's more slightly bitter, but it's just not enough sweetness for me. I need a little bit more. Like those flavors have to punch out. So
Cool.
yeah.
Sharp is another word for this one. I just thought of that. But anyway, so what are we talking about this
There you
week,
go.
KG?
All right, so to keep it a buck, growing up, video gaming, that was a heavy influence, like on me coming up. It's an art form that a lot of people have come around to in the time that I've as I've gotten older as a man. It was like, to be quite honest, man, culturally it was a little more taboo than what I would have, coming up. But it's like now
back in the
everybody
day,
plays. Yeah, everyone plays games. It's not seen as like this nerdy thing, but I don't know, dude. Like, considering the influence it's had, like, we could break it down, man. Like, how do you actually feel about video gaming?
Well, I mean, as I've said on the show before, video games are my third parent.
We're aware, yep.
Yeah, so I obviously grew up playing video games. My very first memory in life is actually playing a video game with my dad. That's the first thing I remember about being alive.
What game?
Defender.
The
And,
arcade joint with
dude, it was on
I know
Atari
of it.
2600.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I had this great strategy for beating him, but my child mind didn't register the fact that we're both looking at the same screen. He could see what I'm seeing, and he beat me. And that's the first thing I remember ever is losing in that game.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, my mom got me a Super Nintendo. That was my first system, the Super Nintendo, not the original, but I had Street Fighter, and I would get my ass kicked by all the kids in the neighborhood would come through, and they would really put it on my ass. But I remember getting better and better, and I remember, so Blanca was the dude that I was a freaking sucker, man. You know how Blanca can curl up, do the electricity and stuff like that. I learned how to master him, man. It was like, I'll say this much, man. All the way from Street Fighter to, I had, Luigi's, Yoshi's. It was something, what was it? It was Search for Yoshi or something like that. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. All around, games taught me so much more, man. Like Metroid. Like, I love video gaming. As I got older, I couldn't quite, put as much into it. But video gaming it has its place. Like, it's realities to live out without living them. And like, it can add so much, be so lucrative to like your life experience, man. People have no clue. I mean, you know what's up, man. But like, I love games, man. Like,
What about you, Jen? Do you play?
I've played a few here and there, but never like on the level that you guys do. But I like that you said that they're crucial to life, because I think that they are crucial, especially to someone like you who, like, you consider them your third parent. But I think that a lot of parents in the past, and even maybe more so now as well, as technology is getting bigger and more prevalent in especially children's lives, I know that there was like some fear about video gaming and how it's, some games are super violent, and people were afraid that people who played these violent games and played them so consistently, and I mean, I don't mean like, oh, come get off work and play this game. I mean, people who sat there for hours and hours and hours losing sleep, or just being so unattached with real life that they sit there on the computer, play these violent games, that they actually become violent in real life, or they become so distant or unattached from society that they become socially awkward. And there's all these cons to it, but you guys seem to have a lot of pros when it comes to video games. So
Well, that theory of violent video games making people violent has been debunked over and over and over again. A lot of studies show that no, they don't make you any more violent at all. There's people that watch horror films all day. That's their favorite. Or they watch a lot of action films, but that doesn't make them more prone
Then what would be the fear? Why would people perpetuate that then? If that makes sense, why would they fear like?
I think that parents especially are gonna always. I mean, I can't speak because I'm not a parent. I don't know. Maybe you would know, but I think that some parents kind of have this fear of if their child starts to act a certain way, you know. Adults who are parents have to learn their children, and as they're growing up, you know, they're learning new things about them because people are growing into new people. And then if their child does have some sort of, not even a violent tendency about themselves, but just maybe something that is just kind of out of character, you know, they're going to find something to blame it on. And I think that video games, especially with a child that plays it so often and so,
it's an easy target.
Yeah, it's just
it's like rap music, it's like et cetera, man.
Exactly.
It's easy to blame.
I've listened to rap my whole life, you know, and
I never once have you thought about hitting the block and like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not me. I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not going to go out and do these things. I'm not going to go, you know, do a drive-by. Whatever people might think is so bad about rap music. I've never wanted to do that. And the same is true for video games. If anything, video games, there's been a lot of studies to show that video games actually make you smarter.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Because you're forced to deal with circumstances in a whole nother, like, you're forced to adjust your parameters to problem solve from reality to reality to reality, if that makes sense. And it's like, I like that. I play, my range of games, and maybe you can attest to this, my range of games is very diverse, bro.
Oh, yeah, extreme.
Like, I don't just play one type of game, bro. I get into them all, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you have puzzle games in which you literally have to think and discover the solution to said puzzle. And that can be said for just about every video game, whether it's a sports game, a racing game, and just about every video game you can think of is some sort of problem solving. And it's like one problem after the next, after the next, after the next. It's constant, and so your brain's always moving.
Can you conceive of any negative, any negative parts of being like, if you're heavily influenced by video gaming, where are the drawbacks from that? Let's say that gaming becomes more influential in your actual life than reality, like the physical reality itself. I know a lot of people that like,
I feel like that could be,
forget getting a girlfriend. I'll play The Sims for like 3 months, and like that actually can, you know, that can substitute for like real life companionship. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Like that level of like being drawn into a video game, you know?
I will say that with video games, because they are so interactive, you don't just press start and then just watch the game play itself. You know, you have to actually be interactive. You have to make the choices. And that's very different than reading a book or watching a TV show or movie where that's passive. You know, the most work you'll do is turning the page or increasing the volume or something. With video games, since you're so engaged in it, you do have that. You have a new level of participation. But I think someone that would be disconnected from reality like that with a video game would also be the same person do that with a movie or a book. So I don't think it would be necessarily the video game itself. They'd be more susceptible to a video game, but that mental problem, I believe, would still exist in other mediums.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're right, and that's where that fine line kind of comes into play, because a book you can read once, you have that total experience. A movie, you watch it, total experience. But a video game, you're living that. You really are.
It's different every time.
It is. And I think that's where some like parents can kind of look and see where their kid is just too into that. For instance, my daughter, she plays, it's called Roblox, but
that's huge.
She can sit in isolation for like, I promise you, man. I'm like, sweetie, you need to eat. Like, she won't even budge. Like, she'll just be locked in. I'm just like, and I can see where that can kind of become like, okay, I have to take the tablet. You know what I mean?
I have a question for you. What if, instead of playing Roblox, she was reading Harry Potter? Just over and over and over and over again. And she didn't budge, she didn't, eat dinner. Would you still feel the same way? Is it the video game itself?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
You take the books away?
If I'm being honest, yeah, because it's like anything that substitutes for you having to go out and live life, I'm gonna feel some type of way about ultimately. But I think for video gaming, it's a little bit easier because they're so engaging. They really pull you in. You have a visual, audio, like everything's just wrapped into that.
Yeah.
Like books and movie but you are living in that thing, man. And I'm speaking from experience. As you know, like when you get, you have your certain games that come out and you're like, all right, y'all, don't hit me up for like,
Exactly.
I'm off the grid for the next week.
Done.
Yeah.
Last of Us, God of War, yeah. But it's something I've always found to be fascinating is that a lot of parents are like, oh, I don't want my kid playing video games all day long. Well then, would you want them reading a book all day long? Is it really the video game is what I was trying to get at?
Yeah, I think that parents are just concerned with the attention span and doing other things and being also aware of eating and stuff like that, getting other things accomplished throughout the day other than just one specific activity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that video games have a bad rep, and they shouldn't. I mean, even parents who like, I think my brother just had a conversation recently where they don't let my nephews play like Call of Duty, and someone asked, like why, like it's a video game, and I think that real quickly, my brother came to the realization like, well, I mean, I guess if he wants it, he can have it, because it's really like, yeah, I guess why not? Like, it is violent, there's blood in it, but I mean, there are movies and all types of things where there's violence, and it can't be just the video game's fault. That's just kind of how it is. They play Fortnite, so it's like, it's kind of just the same thing. And same thing with like, I was talking about video games the other day when I was getting my hair done, and my hairstylist, her son sits with us, and we all kind of hang out together, and he was playing Grand Theft Auto, and I was joking around. He's like 8, and I was joking around about I played Grand Theft Auto for a little bit, just because it was just something to do.
You play Grand Theft?
It's a great game.
I mean, I don't play it really. Like, I don't try to beat any level. It was just something to do. And if I'm being honest, it was just, I used to just sit there and when I found out you could run over people, it was like game over. It was just, I sat there and I would just try to run over as many people and run from the cops and steal cars, and it was fun. I didn't really try to beat any level. And my ex used to get really mad at me because he's like, you're playing on these saved games that I've done, and I was messing things up, but I just wanted to play and run over people. But I don't like to do that in real life, so
yeah, it's a nice escape from reality. Just like watching a movie, even if it's a rom-com or anything, it's nice to have.
it's like,
I will say this though, there are a lot of people that could, and there'd be no consequence to their actions. A video game kind of reveals who you are. So I think there's something to be said for that. I think so.
One thing I gotta say about every single person who has ever played any Grand Theft Auto, ever, at some point, you got into a car and you obeyed every traffic law. Am I right?
oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Just to do it, just to
That's
drive.
after I did. I got 5 stars and I killed 100 people in one. Like, you had to get to that point, man. So
Yeah.
that's the beauty in a video game. You kind of get to live that out, But on that said, heck yeah, man. Y'all trying to switch it up? Switch lines up?
Yeah, let's switch.
Switch it up. All right. White Zen.
Yours smells good.
So is yours.
Oh, this is good. This is really, really good. Is this called Adventure Series? Global Adventure Series wines?
Yeah.
Because it says right there. I'm really confused. Is this a Chianti or just a red blend?
I think
Is Chianti a red blend?
And so, like you said, they might have, I think it's its own style. They might have different types, but that is a red blend. This is
Frank, will you check and see, are all Chiantis red blends? Is that a thing? Because I thought they were not. I thought it was like, Merlot, Chianti, Pinot Noir. But this one's saying red blend. I don't know. This is kind of confusing, but it's a good wine though. This is really good. So I rarely ever say this, but I can see myself having dinner, like pairing this with actual food. This is a good food wine. Oh, smooth, almost silky. kind of a lighter body, you know, to what I'm used to.
Yeah, I like yours. I would never pick it up for myself. A little chalky, but.
Chianti is a medium body, highly acidic, tartly juicy, ruby red wine with flavors of cherry and earth. Produced primarily with Sangiovese grapes in the Chianti region of Tuscany, Italy.
Is it a Chianti because it's from Chianti? Sort of like how bourbon, wait, is it bourbon? That's from Bourbon, Kentucky?
Like Champagne's from Champagne, France?
Yeah, I wonder if that's it. Oh.
No, because it's from Tuscany.
I must have missed that part. That's sweet.
The region.
No surprise, that's sweet.
Yeah, did you like mine?
No.
Oh,
it was
okay.
good, and I enjoy sweet stuff, but it's like there was no citric, there was no.
Really? I got a lot of citrus from that.
I didn't. That's like to my what you call it equivalent is like citrus for like the whiter wines, but what do you call it? Tannins. It's like nothing. There's no bubble notes. Nothing resounds. It's like sweet water. It's like Kool-Aid, but not in a negative way. Like I like it, but it's not like I can't really put it up there. It's good.
What you got for us, Frank?
So I stand corrected. Chianti's name derives from its place of origin rather than from its primary grape.
Place of origin. Okay, cool. So now we
yeah.
know. That's weird. I thought it was an actual.
Which is where?
grape.
And which is where?
In Italy?
Yeah, Chianti, Italy.
Chianti,
The
Italy.
Tuscany region.
And I got you.
Wait, is there not a Chianti, Italy?
It's a region, I guess, of Tuscany.
It is a place. It's an actual place.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. I don't know the breakdown of Italy, man. City, state, I don't know what the geography.
I like my wine. Now that I've tasted y'all's, I
I feel
think
like it'd be a good wine to get someone that is into Pinot Grigio.
Zinfandels, yeah.
Or that's a Zen, red Zen.
Yeah.
Cool. So something I want to ask you, Jen. There was a study done. I can't really quote the year. I think it was like around 2010. But there was a survey, where they asked women why they were upset why they were unhappy in their relationships. And more women reported being unhappy because of their boyfriend or husband's attention to video games, more so than men cheating or being promiscuous. True story. They were more jealous of video games than other women.
That's
so
the truth.
as a woman, like, have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, I will say that, no, I don't know if I'd be more jealous of a video game than another woman, but I can speak from experience that it is very annoying when you want to have attention from a man who is only paying attention. And it's the same thing with phones too. It's like, if you're just gonna sit here on your phone the whole time and I want attention, it's just very, very annoying and makes you insecure. And I understand that video games are a lot of fun, they're relaxing, they're decompressing. There's a lot of things that go into why men want to play them for a long period of time. And sometimes it's nice when you like don't care to have attention and you kind of just want to be on your own. It's like, okay, he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing. But when it comes down to the point to where you want attention and you want to like do things together, and there's like, oh, well, let me just do another round. Well, one more round. Oh, I'm playing with my friends. It's not fun.
I can see that. Actually, yeah, I can really get that. But you know what? Not to digress, and I think this is important, man. If you could, would you be able to handle a man that was like, yo, like y'all out a date, get off your phone, sweetie. Like I'm trying to.
I would not be on my phone.
Jen.
I don't go out to be on my phone. If I want to sit at home on my phone, I lay on my couch.
I promise you, everybody I know, our phones are starting to kind of rule us to a certain extent.
Yeah, but there's times where I just don't want to look at my phone. Sometimes I'll leave my phone on the charger in another room and I'll go do something for hours, like play with my dog or go, because it's just, I've even downloaded games on my phone to where I'm not mindlessly scrolling through Instagram. My mom does the same
What's wrong
thing.
with that? It's a video game as well. I mean, even if it's a mobile game, they're still video games.
Yeah, I play this game on my phone. It's pretty fun. It's so relaxing. It's decompressing.
What's
so.
it called? Oh, okay.
All right, it's this little game. It's called Project Makeover. So it's supposed to be one of those where it's like, where you're like designing stuff. But no, that's not even what the game is. It's basically like was it Candy Crush? I've never played that game, but you're like matching stuff up and you're trying to beat these levels. And like part of the game is like you have to like pick stuff for like a room or whatever, and you just pick it and move on.
You have video game experience. Yeah, that's a video game. That's a mobile. It's a video game, man. Like
Mobile gaming is
the number one
it's
form
huge.
of it.
Yeah, but mobile gaming is so annoying because you have to almost pay to like beat these levels.
well, they want you to pay for the game. They got to make money somehow. I'm guessing
Yeah.
This is a free game, right?
No, you pay for the game. Oh, you pay like $2.99 for it or something like that. But they want you on the game. They want you to make the level so hard that like, so it's all, I get like 30 moves out of one game, okay? And then if you go past 30 moves, a lot of the times,
Closet gamer.
a lot of the times you need like one more move. And so they'll say, okay, well, you need this many gems to get an extra move or how many ever. And then if you can't get it in that little amount, they'll give you like 4 or 5 extra moves. If you can't do that, you got to get more and more. And when you run out, it's like, all right, well, buy more for $1.99. And I'm always a sucker for that because I'm like, I've got to pass this level.
That's how they make their money. So microtransactions are actually really huge now. A lot of games are making a lot of their money from that. A lot of games only make money with that. There's a lot of free-to-play models, like Apex is a huge one. It's a free game to download. You can play the whole thing for free, and you get no advantages by spending money, but it's all cosmetics, and people dump hundreds of dollars. By the way, I'm one of these people. All right, right now I'm one.
The connectivity, man. Back in the day, you didn't even think about it. Before multiplayer became something that was online, it was like the titles themselves earned the money, yo, and it was lit. It's like if you came up with a dope ass IP, that bothers you, man. People like they're playing to like same thing's happening in cinema, bro. It's like they milk the industry milks, man. Like don't get it twisted. I've not played Apex, but I like really good IPA. I'm sorry, damn.
Like really good beer.
No, but like it's yeah, man. The game industry is missing that, man. Like new, really good games, man. God of War was lit, the last one.
The Last of Us.
Last of Us, yes.
Oh.
Now think about it.
Wait, sorry, what you were gonna say?
Yeah, that's like you could probably name 10 titles off the top that were probably really lit. But back in the day, it was like probably 30 to 40, 50, man, within a given year.
It was also much easier to make games back then.
That's true.
Much easier, faster, cheaper. I know you haven't played The Last of Us.
No.
But this is a masterpiece, a complete masterpiece of storytelling. And the same is true for God of War. That's another masterpiece of storytelling. There's something about being able to be engaged and to interact. And even though it's technically the same story for everyone, it
hits people, and yeah.
When you control it, when you're making those decisions, when you feel the fear, it's a different experience. And I would argue that video games are the ultimate form of storytelling.
Yeah, you've said that before on the show, actually.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
My nephews try to get me to play games sometimes, and y'all are gonna laugh because y'all are talking about really good, nice games. They have gotten me to play. Have y'all played Among Us? Mm-hmm. You played it?
Love that.
Okay, so yeah, I have it on my phone, and even sometimes when they're not around, I'm like, let me get on here.
We should play that.
Oh, really? You don't play it, Gizzy? Okay.
Yeah. Have you played it, Caitlin?
No, my daughter plays this shit nonstop.
Really?
It's so fun. It's so fun.
It is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then they have all the different spaceships that you can do and stuff. But you know, one of their things that they do is like they want you to pay so you can pick your own name, so that you can so that you can type whatever you want, instead of when you don't pay for it, you have to pick like your own, or the generated automated sentences and stuff that they have on the game. But we play together, and it's a lot of fun. So my nephew's got me into that.
Can see what I'm about to say. I need it, because like at the end of the day, they're doing the same thing they did with films. It's like people are always going to need entertainment, so we'll find out what to buy. We'll put out money for whatever is like going to like, we're going to gravitate towards something, but that doesn't mean that it's quality. So my thing is like, you're a fan of Shadow of the Colossus. They could never make the reason they could never make that game 2D. I mean, like out of nowhere, like 2D, because people are so caught up in. Everybody's drawn towards the same intellectual properties, bro. It's like, if it ain't Call of Duty, if it ain't Madden 2K, like it's becoming less and less and like creative, man. It's like, and that's what I appreciate. I'm an Assassin's Creed fan, bro. This shit is fucking phenomenal, man.
The AAA titles, you're right. They're playing it safe. I mean, they're dumping tens of $millions and years into development for these games. Like, you don't want to end up like Cyberpunk, where
they put so much into it, and
and that was a complete disaster. But you will see a lot of variety and a lot of interesting new IPs, and more so in the indie scene.
So indie is becoming the same thing with hip hop. I just want to throw that out there. Even with music, it's like underground is the way to go now, because that's where, like, you know, the industry has made it so that you can't actually go outside the box. They're really about the money, man. And I hate that. I hate that, man.
I mean, I get the money aspect of it, but there's some companies that I really believe in that put out great quality stuff just for the art of it. Now, Santa Monica Studios, who did God of War, there is no DLC for it. You know, there's no multiplayer, no DLC, no microtransactions. You pay $60, you got that game, and you played that game, and that's it. You know, just the same way it was back in the day. And I mean, it's no surprise they won hundreds of Game of the Year awards. I mean, it was incredible game.
Isn't there a gaming convention that comes to Atlanta?
Not that I know of. There's E3 that has. No, I don't think E3 has ever been to Atlanta.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Last year?
I think it's always in California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of games, my new car, my Tesla, actually has games on the little screen. My nephew found it, and I thought it was so cool, because when and if I ever have to take them anywhere, I mean, it's just such a good form of entertainment, because they fight over. One of my nephews is, I mean, this is off topic, but he's 13 years old, and he's like a Led Zeppelin fan of all things. And then Hiram is like, you know, he likes stuff that I like The Weeknd and whatever. But I always have to do this back and forth. Like, Hiram's like, let me pick one. And then, so now it's going to be, okay, just play a game. We don't have to worry about music. You guys just play a game.
What are games where? What do you mean?
So like on my Tesla, you can actually watch Netflix and Hulu on the screen too. So it has like a arcade and a theater setting.
I experienced it. Okay.
I meant to say this before you got over. I want to drive your car again.
I know.
I want to drive your car every time you come here.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Tesla's lit, y'all.
It is, and you know what's funny is like every time I go somewhere, like I've been to a couple drive-thrus lately where people are like, we really like your car. And I'm like, wow, thank you. So.
Yeah, you'll never get that in a Ford Fusion, you know?
Well, it's like I've driven like Mercedes and stuff, and people were just like, oh, another car. But I think it's the screen and the minimalist design. And it's like one girl was like, oh, this is high tech.
I gotta ask you, what's your favorite game of all time?
Of all time? I mean, that's...
did we cover this in the show?
I don't know.
It might have been when it wasn't...
It's Final Fantasy VII, all day, every day. Yeah.
Why?
It is the first time I was emotionally invested in a video game. In fact, I'm just going to say it because the game's over 20 years old now. If you didn't know, now you know. When Sephiroth kills Aerith, I mean, I feel like I became a man at that moment. Like, I got really upset, and I mean, for weeks, like, it was just on my mind. And I remember playing the game and enjoying it. And then that happened, and I was just like, I'm going to do everything I can. I sped through the rest of the game to get to the end just to kill him, just to defeat him. I was emotionally moved by this game. So that's why that one's, I think, the storytelling is the greatest. And also what they did for the actual video game industry, how they pushed it forward and innovated. Yeah. What about you?
The Final Fantasy VIII. And you know what's funny is that my signature moment in that game where I knew this was going to be my favorite. And I did struggle with this, by the way, because 7 is... what the heck you doing,
Because I want to drink this wine and there's freaking cat hair in here and I'm just like trying to get around it.
Man, drink that. You good.
I'm not drinking the cat hair.
Oh, it's one single hair.
No, there's 2 in there and I keep trying to dodge them both. Oh, thank you. Okay, now I want more wine because I like my wine. I want to drink it.
Man.
All right, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, 7 was actually right there. That probably would have been up until probably my teenage years. 8 crept up on me. Y'all are creeping me out right now.
I'm sorry. Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
you know what? I should just go get my own wine glass and reuse it. Reusable wine glasses that aren't.
Every wine glass is.
Yeah, it is. I just realized that after I said it.
All right, so Final Fantasy VIII. Sorry, we're gonna stop.
Final Fantasy VIII.
No, it was 8.
It's a
So
great
I don't know if the
story.
viewers know the game. It's what? It came out literally the year after 7. 2 years, I'm sorry. But there's this part in I don't know how well you remember the game, but they're in the spaceship and this Squall and Renoir, the protagonist of the game, and his companion. It was like, it really took my heart. It was the song, it was how they drew it up, it was everything.
When they were dancing?
That too.
Oh.
In the ballroom.
Yeah.
I'm a hopeless romantic, so like playing that game, it was actually I can say this with confidence, man. It was the one game that ever registered in my heart, yo. It's like I played a lot of games.
Emotionally touched you, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But it was through a lens of the romantic. So it's like that whole story was built around that romance.
Absolutely.
Final Fantasy VII, when they killed Ares off, believe it or not, it changed my whole I didn't want to play the game anymore, dude. I was like, I mean, I knew I was gonna finish it, but it was almost like Ares was my bitch, yo.
Yeah.
So wait, all the Final Fantasies, it started at what, 1? Or just Final Fantasy, and then went with Final Fantasy 2 all the way up to 8?
The original was Final Fantasy.
So it was all one story.
No, they're all different stories.
Okay, so each Final Fantasy is a different story from Final Fantasy 2.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but so when it got to 7, that was its own story, and then when
8 was its own story.
Oh, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fun fact, the very first Final Fantasy, it was made by Square Enix, Squaresoft at the time. And they were running out of money, and their company was about to fail, and they're like, you know what? We have enough money and enough time for one more game. This would be our final fantasy of making video games. If this doesn't work, we're done. And it blew up to be one of the most iconic video game franchises of all time.
Real quick, a dark horse, just to throw it out there. A great game title. It's not even, forget what you feel like.
Yeah.
Something you feel a lot of people should know in regards to like a great game, no matter what. Like
everyone should play The Last of Us.
Gotcha.
Even women?
Absolutely. I mean,
but how do you play it? Like, so is it on PS?
it's on PlayStation.
PlayStation?
It is a PlayStation exclusive. You might be able to play it on PC now, but it's a PlayStation game. And when that game came out, they won over 200 Game of the Year awards. I mean, they changed everything.
I'm gonna take a step back.
The story.
I'm gonna take a step back. Mine would be Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2 and 3.
Oh, that's a great one.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So my little sister at the time, Kiana, she was sitting right there, and I was going through the game. It was better than the movie for her. I could say she would jump every time there was something that was like she didn't play one time. I sat there for like 3 or 4 hours straight. And I knew the game was good because she was so engaged just by watching. It was a cinematic experience for her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what started them off. Naughty Dog was on some shit way before, like, what do you call it, dude? Uncharted is actually what started all that shit, bro. That was Crash Bandicoot, by the way, too, right?
Yeah.
I love games, bro.
I will say that like to sit back and watch people play games is pretty entertaining as well.
Absolutely.
So like I know that like I recognize games sometimes when I see just someone playing it and I'm like, oh, I've seen this before. I've watched someone play it before. So
Right, we got two to spare or what? 2 minutes?
I'll give you 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
Cool. Final shots to wrap it up.
I will say, and I don't know if I've said it on the show, but I've definitely said it in my personal life. Minus Ferguson. You remember that? The thing that happened in Ferguson,
You
Michigan?
talking about the shooting?
Yeah. So if we subtract that, when Pokemon Go came out, in my personal opinion, is the greatest time in human history, in American history. Even more so than September 12th, where everyone came together. Pokemon Go, a video game, was played by millions, and I've never seen so many parents, this swear to God, I've never seen more parents engage with their own children outside ever in my life. Ever.
I thought that was, I never played it, but that one was really, really cool. And it was so funny to watch people do it because you'd pass by and you'd see people on their phone looking around and you knew what they were doing.
That was the greatest moment in American history, in my opinion, and it was all based around a video game. Fight the glass. All right, Jen, your final thought.
Get you right.
My final thoughts, I do like the swine actually, so that's a thought. Yeah, video games are fun. I will say I play them for anxiety reasons because it's just better than, I don't want to get on Instagram that gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
So, my mom and I sometimes play games together. So it's good. It's good for those reasons.
What about you, KG?
Games can be very telling into your actual character. I remember I had a few cousins. We would sit down every day for like months in the summer, and we would plug up The Sims. And I remember us doing like this one cousin would he'd be like, his whole thing was like to get a girlfriend. Like his whole this dude was like, man, my career is all that. And me, I swear to God, like I would be in my house every day, my little apartment. Pumping weight. That's all I'll be talking shit to. I'm pumping weight. I would be fucking weightlifting to get my dude stronger mentally and physically. And it's like,
what game is this?
The Sims.
Oh, I was about to say we used to try to we were trying to find codes online where you could get your characters to like have sex and stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
I'm like, God damn.
There are Sims pornos. I mean, so I've been told.
But no, that's it, man. Games can be very telling of who we are, man, to a certain extent. Good ass episode.
Also, final thought: there are no better strippers than the Grand Theft Auto strippers.
Lord,
Nobody
I wouldn't
can
know.
play
What
them.
the hell? Are you talking about I still wouldn't know. No. I know they had a little code or whatever. Like you could, you can go into the strip club, and I don't know, man. That was just.
Oh yeah, great dancers.
All right. Well, thanks guys for watching. Hopefully you guys found this to be entertaining. Also, Melissa, we did go to Aldi and try to buy those wines, but they didn't have them here. So at least we tried. For everyone else, recommend a wine. We will try our very best to go out and get it and drink it on the show.
Or just send it to us.
And subscribe. YouTube, Facebook, Podbean. We're live on all levels. We appreciate the viewers, yo.
Cool. All right, guys. Cheers. Should we cheers to your bottle?
Yeah.
That's what you're drinking out of now?
Cheers. Cheers.